This critique analyzes a raw, live-streamed breaking news transcript covering military escalations between the U.S., Israel, and Iran, heavily featuring real-time audience interaction and open-source data analysis. Let's dive right into the feedback.
Integrating audience acknowledgments into a high-stakes breaking news format requires a structured approach to maintain the narrative's momentum.
Yeah, that balance it's a really critical one to strike for anyone in this space. Because, the material makes a strong case for community building. You rely on your audience not just for views, but for, direct funding, subscriptions, super chats. But right now, this broadcaster is managing massive, fast-paced global stakes.
Right.
We're looking at live updates regarding Trump's statements on munitions manufacturing, alarming reports of missile strikes at the Mehrabad airport in Tehran, and stark warnings from Qatar about oil surging to $150 a barrel. The tension in the room is palpable.
It really is. The gravity of the situation is immense. The weakness here, though, is that the current material constantly interrupts those critical, tense updates to read long, repetitive lists of subscriber names and chat moderators. It completely stalls the flow of the journalism.
Exactly. You're hearing about the 82nd Airborne Division potentially deploying to the Middle East, and in the exact same breath, the host abruptly shifts gears to thank Beth Mythical and Shahzad from Pakistan for gifting channel memberships. It creates this severe tonal whiplash for the listener.
And look, I completely get the instinct. When someone gives you money or subscribes, the immediate reflex is to say thank you right then and there. It's the dopamine loop of live streaming.
Yeah.
But the broader audience, the silent majority who tuned in to find out if a regional war is kicking off, is suddenly forced to sit through a roll call.
Right. And alienating the people funding the journalism isn't an option, but losing the narrative threat of World War III level stakes is also fatal to the broadcast.
Absolutely.
So what's the best way to handle this friction so we aren't punishing the broader audience?
The suggestion is to batch these community acknowledgments into dedicated, predictable segments rather than sprinkling them randomly throughout the critical reporting. We want to reward the community without derailing the news cycle.
I really like that approach. It respects the creator's need for monetization while prioritizing the editorial product. Let's explore some concrete examples of how a broadcaster can actually implement this. If I'm sitting at my desk managing these streams, what's a visual solution I can use?
One highly effective concrete example is using a lower third scrolling ticker on the screen.
Oh, okay.
It continuously thanks new subscribers and members without ever interrupting the audio feed.
Like the stock ticker on a financial news network.
Exactly. It provides constant visible validation to the audience. And the most important part is that it keeps the broadcaster's voice completely free to report the news.
You never have to break your sentence about crude oil to thank someone for a $5 chat.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense for standard subscriptions, but let's play devil's advocate here. What about the major contributors? The people dropping $50 or $100 through a super chat? A ticker might feel a bit too passive for that level of support.
That's a very fair point. Another concrete example for those larger donations focuses on temporal pacing. You could save those vocal moderator shoutouts and major donation thanks for a dedicated 30-second block at the top and bottom of the hour.
Ah, so you borrow a page from traditional radio broadcasting. You hit the post, do your station identification, and do your community housekeeping all at once.
Precisely. You train your audience to know exactly when the housekeeping happens. If they donate at 10:15, they know they'll hear their name at 10:30. It builds anticipation rather than causing disruption.
I can see how that structure actually elevates the prestige of the shout-out, too. Are there other natural moments to fit these in if the news cycle is particularly chaotic and you miss that bottom of the hour mark?
Definitely. Alternatively, a great concrete example is acknowledging donations during natural lulls in the news cycle. Think about moments when you're actively waiting for a translated statement to come through or a wire alert to cross the desk. You can frame it seamlessly as a community check-in.
While we wait for the translation from the Dubai media office, let's do a quick community check-in to see what you guys are saying.
Yes, exactly.
That works beautifully. It turns what was previously a disruption into a deliberate editorial transition. It shows the audience that you're in control of the pacing.
Navigating technical glitches seamlessly is essential for preserving the authoritative tone and immersive experience of a live broadcast.
That element of control bleeds perfectly into this next major challenge we noticed in the transcript. which is managing the mechanics of the stream itself. Now, we know these creators are using complex software, managing multiple live video feeds and data sources during a chaotic global event.
Right.
We see the broadcaster wrestling with frozen clocks, a glitching Beirut camera feed, and browser issues. They're vocalizing every single struggle with the software in real time. I have to reset the video again, my screen is frozen, why won't this tab load?
It's a very common trap in independent media. There's this prevailing idea that showing the messy behind-the-scenes reality builds a deeper connection with the audience.
Yeah, the authenticity angle.
Right. But the weakness here is that the host repeatedly vocalizes their internal troubleshooting process, extensively narrating the need to reset the video, freezing the screen, or complaining about the clock being paused. It draws unnecessary attention to the broadcast's flaws. It breaks the fourth wall and creates frustrating dead air for the audience.
It pulls the viewer right out of the moment. Picture the scene. You have heavy tracer fire lighting up the night sky over Lebanon on the screen. Adrenaline is high, and then the host sighs heavily and says, "Sorry guys, my Chrome browser's crashing, let me refresh."
It destroys the immersion. The suggestion is to develop a show-don't-tell contingency plan that pivots the audience's attention away from the technical mechanics and toward alternative visual or audio content while issues are resolved in the background.
We need to adopt that duck on the pond mentality. Smooth and calm on the surface, even if you're paddling frantically underneath. Let's lay out some concrete examples of this contingency plan. When the Beirut feed goes dark, what exactly should the broadcaster do instead of narrating the software failure?
Visually, a concrete example is having a preloaded breaking news standby graphic or a static regional map ready to switch to while resetting the video feeds.
A static regional map is a brilliant idea. If the live feed of Tehran drops, you cut to a high-resolution map of Iran and the surrounding airspace. The viewer is still looking at something highly relevant while you scramble on your second monitor to fix the feed.
Exactly. It maintains visual professionalism, but audio is where the real panic sets in for a live streamer.
Right? The silence is deafening, so the instinct is to fill it with an explanation of what you're doing. Just a second, guys, dragging this window over.
That instinct is strong, but another concrete example is to instead use the technical downtime to verbally summarize recent confirmed facts.
Oh, so you use the glitch as an excuse to do a recap.
Yes. For instance, the host could use those 30 seconds of downtime to recap the staggering 12% spike in West Texas crude oil, or reiterate reports of a third aircraft carrier strike group deploying.
That is such an actionable pivot. To the audience, it doesn't sound like you're buying time. It sounds like a deliberate editorial summary. You're reminding them of the macro situation while your hands are busy fixing the micro problem.
If the glitch is so obvious that you feel you absolutely must acknowledge it, here's a final concrete example for this section. Simply state, we're briefly updating our visual feeds. Let's review what we know.
We're briefly updating our visual feeds. Let's review what we know. That sounds like a seasoned network news anchor.
Right. It moves the narrative forward without explaining the granular deep details of the browser refresh.
You maintain your position as the authoritative guide rather than the frustrated IT technician. That is a massive paradigm shift.
Presenting raw open source intelligence requires clear editorial synthesis to prevent the audience from feeling overwhelmed by speculative data.
That concept of maintaining authority brings us to our final observation, dealing with how raw data is presented to the viewer. Let's look closely at the section discussing the real-time tracking of the incident at Dubai International Airport.
Yes.
The broadcaster pulls up Flight Radar 24 on the screen and begins narrating the real-time movements of commercial airliners over the UAE amid rumors of drone strikes. The broadcaster is processing all of this live on air, essentially thinking out loud.
Open source intelligence tools are incredible resources, but they are just raw data. The weakness here is that the live analysis of the Dubai airport situation relies on narrating every individual plane's holding pattern on the screen. The host is saying things like, this one's going back and forth, that one is circling.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It comes across as meandering and repetitive, ultimately leaving the audience confused about the actual conclusion being drawn.
It is a massive cognitive load for the listener. The host is literally reading the screen aloud. They question whether a dotted line means an estimated position or if GPS spoofing is happening. If I'm a listener just trying to find out if Dubai is under attack, I am getting lost in the weeds of aviation mechanics.
Showing your work is part of independent media, but the suggestion here is to consolidate the scattered data points into a single cohesive observation before presenting it to the audience, framing the raw data with the necessary context and caveats.
Doing the analysis before you speak, let's talk about concrete examples for synthesizing this open-source intelligence more effectively. Because staring at a live radar map is hypnotic, it's easy to get sucked into narrating the dots.
It takes immense discipline. A concrete example for improvement is to synthesize the observation verbally off mic. Instead of tracking 5 different planes aloud in real time, synthesize the observation by stating, "Flight radar data shows at least half a dozen inbound flights in holding patterns over Dubai, corroborating reports of an ongoing incident."
Corroborating reports of an ongoing incident. That is incredibly sharp. It immediately tells the audience the so what of the data, and visually, how should they handle the screen share?
Another concrete example is to use a wide-shot screen grab of the holding patterns to make the point visually in 10 seconds, and then immediately transition to seeking a